Welcome to the Data Centered Leadership Podcast. Today we have an exciting guest. Her name is Isabela Blasi. She's with the Indicium Tech. She's the Chief Business Development Officer there and a co-founder. She's played a pivotal role in growing the company from the ground up to now over 70 employees who are all working to provide data science as a service in Brazil and now expanding to the world. Welcome, Isabela. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Tyler. Thank you for having me.
Uh,
Super excited to be here and talk a little bit about our journey into the data science as a service world.
awesome. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with some personal questions. First, I'd like to ask you, what led to you becoming an entrepreneur in the data science as a service area?
Yeah, that's a good question because I don't come from a data background originally. I studied law. I'm actually a lawyer, but during law school and like during my whole life, I always had the entrepreneurial spirit. And I was really unhappy, but I had to finish university. So I started looking up into different opportunities that the tech world provided. So in 2016, I went to the Silicon Valley for an innovation learning trip, and I got super excited with everything I saw there. And when I got back, I still had like 2 more years to go into law school, but I was kind of decided to start a company and innovate. And at the time, coincidentally, UC Berkeley executive education came to Brazil, specifically to my city here, which is Florianopolis, Floripa, which is also known as the Brazilian Silicon Valley, which is it's a funny nickname, but we're happy to be called that way because it's a small island in the southern part of Brazil. And they came here with the Innovation Acceleration Group to with a program to foster innovation in countries like Brazil. And they went to our one of our like strongest business schools here, and it was a 3 month program in which I participated. And we had to create, a business, all the business model canvas generation. Is your business a go or a no go? So it was an interesting journey. And my business, my MVP business that I was testing there, it was called Mr. Prediction, and it involved data science prediction for the financial market. At the end of it all, it was a go, but it didn't go from there. From the end of the program, that was it. And then on a yeah, and basically, as I'm going to tell you, I think you know, right? I met my co-founders, and destiny and fate helped us to meet on this occasion, and things kind of like moved from there.
That's exciting. That's a great story. So you came from a unconventional background and started looking and really jumped out of your comfort zone with the opportunity for the course and the meetup at the university and met your co-founding team. Um,
Exactly. I think everyone, like each of us, we were on different backgrounds. I was in law, but I wasn't happy. Our CEO, Mateus, he had just come back from a master's in the US. So he was like settling down with lots of ideas in his mind. And then Daniel, which is our CDO, he was also in this course with another startup. At the time, he had a bar. So everyone was like on different paths. And eventually we converged after this course. And Mr. Prediction didn't go from there, but the idea of working with data was stuck uh, in my mind, on my co-founder's mind. And then we thought, okay, let's do this. Let's start a data company in Brazil. And I initially worked part-time while Mateus and Daniel, they really uh, started the company because they have a tech background. And things went from there. Things went from there. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Uh, how have you grown since you co-founded Indicium?
Well, I think when Indicium started, I was like around 20 years old. So I was very young, very immature. And I think like we always grow every year with every different experience, we grow. And when you have a company that's growing fast as Indicium, you grow even faster. Like it's a proportional growth. So I believe that I grew in so many instances, not only like to communicate, to learn more about this tech world, and you know, facing the challenges of running a startup. So building resilience, learning to build relationships, learning from mistakes, falling and getting up again because you kind of don't have time. If you don't get up, no one will for you. And kind of normalize mistakes and like celebrate victories, which is something that sometimes it's hard because you're so involved with the operation, with trying to make things work, that sometimes you don't even celebrate small victories like a new office, um, hiring new people, learning new things. But it's been a great ride, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to learn a lot more on the next years to come.
Wow, sounds like a wild ride.
Yeah,
Exciting,
it
exciting and
is.
scary. What would you say has been your greatest victory or growth moment since you became an entrepreneur with Indicium?
I think there are a couple milestones, I guess. First, I think growing our team and doubling our company yearly since it started without outside investments, or it's just us and hard work and an amazing team, great clients trying to make things work. And that's very special, you know. That's something we're very, very proud of. Besides, of course, uh, not failing through the pandemic, because we provide data science services and create solutions. And when COVID hit, we kind of like, just as the whole world, we kind of stopped. Like our clients didn't know when they were going to pay us. We didn't know. We were at the office. You know, we didn't have an all remote culture, and we worked with projects. We are an agile firm. We work with sprints. So we kind of like had to revolutionize and innovate, uh, just as like many other companies did, uh, to still deliver projects with quality, to keep our clients, to keep our people together with, keep our mind sane. And we actually, when the pandemic started, we were like in 28 people, and by the start of 2021, we were like in 56 people. So yeah, that's like another source of pride, and I consider that a huge victory because you know not everyone survived from this crisis.
Wow, thank you for sharing. What a challenge. Uh,
Yeah,
and major growth. Incredible.
yeah,
Uh,
and just like sorry, just to compliment, another thing that's been great is that we've been acknowledged as top Latin America's service providers by Clutch, which is an outsourcing reviewing platform, which has also been a great victory on these
amazing.
last few years. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Who was your first major paying customer?
Oh yeah, that's when you start a company, when you have the idea and okay, it's a go, that's good. Okay, now we have to go find clients. And our first major paying customer was, um, we live in Santa Catarina, which is a state in southern part of Brazil. It was our state's biggest real estate firm, which is called Brugnoli. And they have a very innovative CEO who takes risks, of course, because we needed someone to take a chance on us. And he did, because he also wanted to innovate it into that traditional business, such as real estate. And he needed like-minded people to do that in his company. So Brignoli, which is the name of the company, was our first major paying customer, and they are still with us. And throughout this time, they implemented, their an end-to-end analytics process. They have BI dashboards. They predict like Zillow, because here in Brazil we now have something like Zillow, but we didn't. And they implemented things to predict how an apartment would cost and how much would rent cost and all of these things. So we both grew proportionately. Uh, them as our first client and taking a chance on us, and of course us with our experience and with everything we've learned during this ride.
That sounds like a really wonderful customer to start with. You know, I want to um, ask you one little follow-up question on that. So what was it like? Like, what was your strategy for getting your first major paying customer? Was it like, did you kind of like research and feel it out and then have like one targeted customer you wanted to try to go after? Or did you have to spend a long time asking so many people, like doing cold emailing? What was that like for you?
Since we started with services, it was kind of mouth to mouth. We needed some, that little push. And this company specifically, they were at Link Lab, which is an innovation lab inside of our tech association here in our state. So they were there looking for solutions for with different and innovative companies, and that's when we kind of like, okay, that's our strategy, let's go there. And then we met them, and then things uh, went on from that. But that's very challenging, like for every company that's starting, especially when you don't have a product that you can start like doing cold calls or sending cold emails. It's harder because you don't have a case, you don't have nothing. You just need like people to trust you. It's just like, every other service, like a doctor or like a lawyer. Okay, you finished law school. Okay, I have my degree. What now? You need someone to take a chance on you. But that was our strategy. Look for partners into the world, into the tech world, who had this vision to invest in companies like ours. It was like
So
more a sniper
yeah,
strategy.
yeah, you found the right network, leveraged the network, seized the opportunity fearlessly, went for the big one right off the bat. Wow,
Perfect. Yeah,
genius.
that's a great like summary of everything.
How would you say Indicium has evolved as an organization since you started the company?
Wow. It's just like we usually say that we have four core pillars, right? People, processes, technology, and data. Regarding people, first, our team. We were initially a team of two with Daniel and Mateus doing everything. And of course, we are on a highly competitive industry. And we needed not only to find the right people, which are also expensive, but train and retain these people to stay with us and to deliver value to our clients. And that's been a challenge, but we've always had this people centered culture. And Daniel, especially our CDO, he focuses a lot on education. And we created our academy, which works also as a talent pool for us, because when we couldn't hire people, we trained them with our own methodology, and then they are on our talent pool, and we contact them whenever we can hire. And also we have internal projects like apprenticeship, fellowship programs to develop interns into uh, data professionals, develop people who are, because here in Brazil, as opposed, I believe that, right? Because I know that in the US, you have lots of data analytics programs, in school. But here, we don't have that. We basically have software engineering courses that last for 5 years and are very traditional. They don't talk about necessarily about what's really happening in the world. So we have these professionals who want to thrive, who want to taste the data world, but they are stuck in traditional education. And we understood this opportunity, and we see this opportunity within Brazil. And we developed lots of people and developed a great tech team with not only tech abilities, but also soft skills and all of that. So, regarding people, I think that's a great evolution from what we had before and what we have now, and how we see our team. Of course, regarding clients, we evolved. We couldn't choose our clients necessarily. We just like went all over the market. And then we started to mature and understand which clients actually, for which clients we could deliver value. And then we started targeting clients more efficiently and delivering more value. And everyone was happy in the end. Everyone is happier in the end. Also, I think the market matured a lot. And uh, by 2016, 17, here in Brazil, you gotta keep that in mind that we're like at least 4 years behind the US or even more regarding technological mindset, when we're talking about traditional industries and all of that. So when we were reaching out to customers and trying to explain like data is important, they were like, that's a nice to have. I won't invest on that. It's not a must have. I'll just like keep investing on marketing strategies and whatever. There's just like this one iconic moment that we had this prospect, and we asked this prospect, okay, so how do you plan to open new franchises? Like, oh, I simply do this. Okay, so purely intuition, and yeah, and it's worked ever since, and I'll keep doing that until I remain in this company. We were like, oh my gosh, it's going to be a hard ride. It's going to be challenging to educate this market. But eventually things got better. The market matured, and of course, with the pandemic, as we're seeing this huge digitalization, and everyone who, even like this prospects, probably now is rethinking his strategies, because you can't not think about data anymore. So the market also matured towards that end, and we're feeling distraction to work with different clients. Of course, we matured in processes and technology because we deliver services. So throughout the years, we started learning how to deliver better, how to enhance and optimize processes, and deliver the best experiences, not only for our clients, but also um, keep everything challenging and satisfying for our teams. And I think that's it. Like we've grown all of these pillars, and I'm pretty sure we will grow even more in the next few years.
Uh, it's sounds like you're doing really admirable work with all the training efforts. Like, not only are you helping the companies to get up to speed, you're ahead of the curve, working on the latest open source technology and using the latest techniques for development. And also, it's, I mean, really admirable the way that you train the people and develop them to be, cutting edge data science service providers.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's like it didn't come out of nothing. It's not only like a company strategy, but our Vitor, which is our CTO, and he's actually Daniel's brother, and Daniel, as like our tech guys, they also felt these this need and this gap in the market. So they started and they were like, okay, let's look up for information. Let's do out like they were self-paced learners. But there's lots of people with lots of analytical background and a great smart people who aren't being like um, offered enough opportunities to evolve in this world. So we're very happy to be at the forefront in this end. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. So for the next question, I wanted to ask you, so since you're frequently supplying some of the latest, most cutting edge open source solutions, um, data science and software data warehousing solutions for your customers, you must know quite well about the what's available in the market and what may be coming. So I wanted to ask, what excites you the most about the current state of the open source analytics software that's available for you to use and provide to your customers?
That's great. Well, open source is like there's no turning back, and it's also embedded within our values. We're highly committed to open source solutions since Indicium started, and we truly believe it is the way to the future. And regarding excitements, first we implement the modern data stack within our clients, and we know that innovation and new technologies and they will guide the future of open source. So it's been very exciting to see how this open source environment uh, evolved and innovates in all of these stages of the data stack, like from ETL tools to data infrastructure to data transformation as DBT, like and to the development of new data science frameworks. And another thing that we enjoy and we're super excited about is the sense of collaboration and community that's around the open source environment. Most tools, they have their own communities. You can reach out to even like founders. You can exchange information. You can co-create. And we love the open source opportunity to keep people together and to develop like the greatest technology you can. So that's something we really enjoy and we're super excited about. And of course, there are also challenges, just as in like every industry. Like for instance, like most of these tools are recent, so like there aren't standards. That's why the modern data stack has been like the greatest methodology we found to implement within our clients. But of course, that's also challenging because you don't know when a new tool is arising and will like eat every other one alive, you know? So you never know what's coming up next in the next year. And that's quite challenging, but we're more excited than challenged.
Yeah, it's exciting. It sounds like it's fun work to be using the open source software and providing it, but there is that like pressure to always be staying on top of it. The latest thing that comes out
Yes,
that everyone wants.
exactly. It's
So
quite, it's kind of like, it's quite exhausting because it's an everyday thing and you have to have an ability to filter what's important, what's not, what's marketing, so you can focus on your business. So you have
uh,
to keep looking, understanding the new tools, being at the forefront, but at the same time, you can't do everything. So that's a challenge.
uh, so these open source softwares, they're quite capable. They they can be very powerful at doing a specific thing. But usually it's like it, it's it solves a specific purpose. It doesn't solve the entire data stack. So you have to come in and provide it and fill all those gaps. So what I would like to ask, what kind of gaps do you find Indicium filling most frequently between the off the shelf open source software that's available and what your customers actually really need to come up with valuable data insights?
I think that's a great question. It kind of like summarizes to why we became a tech consulting and data science as a service company, because someone had to fill in the gaps. And we kind of filled them all within the modern stacks, like from data ingestion to, AI and predictive modeling. You need people, you need DevOps, you need data ops to make this whole stack work. It's a stack, right? It's not a one tool. It's like 100 million tools, 100 like billions of volumes of data. So as Daniel, our CDO, says, we are an open source tools curator. And we are kind of like solutions architects between like open source and our clients' needs. So we're always trying to understand um, our clients' like biggest gaps and trying to bridge these gaps with the best tools available regarding their needs. Sometimes they don't have enough budget, for instance, to invest on Tableau, or so you need to find another solution. Or they have sometimes you have a big enterprise company and they have a data platform of their own, but they need something else. So it's a very personalized service and that demands personalized solutions. But uh, that's also within our core, and we like the challenge to create the best stack and the best infrastructure for our clients, which is always a little bit different. There's always a difference somewhere. But yeah, and that's of course really hard. Sometimes it's hard to scale because of that. But we don't believe companies will succeed in the data environment if they don't have a modern, flexible, and scale stack as the modern data stack provides. So yeah.
Uh, so for the next question, I'd like to ask, what is your vision for Indicium's future?
Yeah, that's a great one. Of course, we've grown a lot, but we still have a long road that we need to pave to achieve our goals and our strategy. But our vision currently is to be one of Brazil's biggest data companies by 2025. And there's a lot of work for us to get there, but I think we're on the right way.
Wow, like that's a big goal. It's exciting. It's good. I wish you
Yeah,
the best.
thank you. We'll need it. We'll need all the wishes and like break a leg wishes we can.
So on that note of your vision for the future, could you provide more insight on how you're looking to expand your services and customer base for Indicium to continue the growth?
Sure. First, one of like our growth pillars, entering in new markets, of course, expanding to different countries, especially the US for us, because we have a very global culture within Indicium. Everyone speaks English. We work with, the modern stack. So we're here. I'm in Brazil. You're in the US, but we're talking the same language. And of course, with the currency difference, it's very exciting for us to invest in expanding our market to the US, because we know we provide a very personalized and quality service, and that we can be competitive even in a competitive market such as the US. Um, Aside from that, of course, developing specific products, data centered products, because we also work within business verticals here at Indicium. So, like construction, logistics, industry 4.0. And although these industries and clients, they have different problems, when we're talking about verticals, they sometimes share common challenges. And that's where we see that we can look for developing products with what we've been learning from our clients. And, there's like no better way to create a product that generates traction than talking to your customers, learning their needs, learning what they're suffering and their problems on their daily basis. So that's a strategy we want to enhance on the next years to expand our customer base. And of course, creating strategic partnerships, not only because, of course, we started with a great partnership with an innovation um, accelerator company. So, well, strategic partnerships with tools around the world, like from the data stack, since we implement the data stack, developing partnership with strategic companies, helping also outsourcing our full stack data teams. So these are like the three kind of glimpses of how we intend to expand on the next following years. Yeah.
Exciting. Thank you for sharing. Uh, so to I kind of we're approaching the conclusion. So I want to ask you a few follow-up questions for our audience. First one is, how can someone gain access to Indicium services?
Sure. You can talk to us on our website. You can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. I think we're going to add on the bio description the LinkedIn. And also you can email contato, which is CONTATO at indicium.tech. We'll like describe everything on the bio so it will be easier, right?
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience before we conclude?
Yeah, I think there are two things. First, because I was trying to spell indicium here, and I remembered that we met on Data Science Go event on San Diego, I think like 2019, right?
Yes.
And indicium, it comes from the Latin word information. And it's been very hard for people abroad to spell or understand uh, these names, but that's why it's called Indicium. That's just a side note. And I remember like exchanging cards and like people having some trouble. So just for clarifications, it's Indicium. Um, and aside from that, I wanted to just talk a little bit about like this whole entrepreneurial ride, for everyone who's here listening. uh, don't be afraid to get out of the building, get out of your comfort zone, and do what you have to do to invest in this data ecosystem. There are 1,000 of opportunities lots of great people to work with, lots of technology to explore, and I'm pretty sure uh, you'll find your way into developing your own business um, in this universe. I also, of course, want to root and empower females and women to invest in this world. At least here in Brazil, the data world is very masculine, and I understand the challenges. I understand that sometimes it can be hard, but you gotta go out and get them. I come from a law background. all my all my partners and co-founders, they are tech people, but when you create a company with people who have the same goal at the end of the day but different mindsets, that's when you can innovate. That's when you can bring different things on the table. If you just like collaborate with like-minded people, you'll probably get like-minded answers, and you won't think outside of the box or be challenged or see things in a different perspective. So I definitely also encourage um, everyone who's listening or who wants to invest in this business or wants to create its own business to join, to create this business with people, with different people with the same goal. I guess that's been successful, and that's a great way to start. And of course, I really want to thank you, Tyler, for your time, for letting us share our story here. Uh, I love this initiative and how you conducted the podcast. It's been great to reconnect, and um, just like continuing what I was saying, don't be afraid. Like we exchanged cards on a conference 2 years ago. We reached out by email, and here we are. So you just gotta take risks, and uh, very happy to share everything here with you today.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your experience as a data centered leader. I it's sounds like it's really been a great journey, and I appreciate you sharing the insights. And I also want to thank our listeners for listening.